A 25-year-old man who was arrested in Ipswich on suspicion of rape has been released on police bail. The attack happened in a car park near the Old Foundry Road on Saturday morning. The man must return to the police station in December. Members of South West Norfolk Conservative Association will meet tomorrow to decide if they should deselect the candidate who they only selected at the weekend. Some members of the party are unhappy that Elizabeth Truss failed to tell them that she'd once had an affair with an MP.
I wonder how many of us would take a homeless young person into our homes and let them use the spare room. It's what the council in Essex is asking us to do to help homeless young people out of B&B accommodation.
It's called the Essex Sunshine Coast. But if, like 17-year-old Paul Chatterton, you've left home and are living in B&B, life can be pretty bleak. He moved out after a series of rows, but admits that going it alone is tough.
You realise your mum's not there to support you, your dad's not there to support you, your nan, your granddad, aunts, whatever. They're not there, so you've got to do everything on your own back, and it is hard, really hard, and I struggled.
It's for people like Paul that the local council's come up with this supported lodgings scheme to give homeless youngsters somewhere safe and supportive.
What we want to get away from is just giving people a roof over their head. We want to make sure that young people actually get support and that a host can act as a mentor to them and actually provide them with the living skills that they'll need for independent living.
It's all part of a government drive to cut the number of young homeless people in B&B. Residents who help out through this new scheme will get a weekly payment, training and advice.
I would do it, but like I say, I'll be very wary because obviously you wouldn't know who they were. But like you say, everyone needs a chance. You know, if it was me, I'd hope someone would do it for me.
You've got to know what the people you're taking in are like, haven't you? Well, you just don't know, do you?
It's a tough one, yeah. It's about trusting the person.
The council says the vetting will be extensive. As for Paul, he's busy turning things around. He's hoping to move to fresh accommodation and has an apprenticeship.
To be honest, I'm proud. I know I might sound big-headed, but I'm proud, so...
He's fully behind this new council plan and says he hopes local people come forward to support it too. Kevin Birch, BBC Look East in Clacton.
Bus drivers with First Essex are holding their second 24-hour strike in a row over pay. It means a limited service, but unlike last week, buses in the south of the county have been running. Staff in Hadley and Basildon called off their action. They'll hold a ballot on a new pay offer.
An elderly woman from a care home in Shoeburyness has taken up the Chinese martial art of Tai Chi. But what makes Rachel Huss so special is that she's 106 and she's thought to be the oldest Tai Chi student in the Western world.
This is Rachel Hush on her way to her weekly Tai Chi class. Nothing much happens quickly when you're 106, which is probably why this gentle Chinese martial art suits Rachel down to the ground.
Up gently, then gently down, sweetheart. That's right.
Rachel spent more than 40 years in the Salvation Army. Her husband died in the 1960s, and although she doesn't say much these days, Rachel does seem to enjoy the exercise.
But just these gentle movements, even in Rachel, has generated what the Chinese call qi, or energy, and that will have circulated everywhere, but it's actually manifested in her hands. So it'll be all over her, and that's where you get the feeling of well-being. It's extraordinary, isn't it? It just surprises me every time.
Rachel's fellow residents at Catherine Court also join in, as do some of the staff, but at 106, Rachel is the star of the show.
She walks here, so she brings herself to the lounge.
You're very lovely.
And she enjoys it, you can see.
Yeah, she's chirpy.
Very chirpy.
Very nice.
It's lovely.
Oh.
You're lovely, you've got warm hands.
After Tai Chi, it's a cup of tea back in her room. Rachel Hush is proof that you're never too old to try something new. Mike Liggins, BBC Look East, Shoeburyness.
You're watching Look East from the BBC.
Very friendly bear.
Yeah, you got a good hug there, didn't you?
Now football, and Ipswich Town failed to win again this weekend. A draw at Plymouth means it's now 14 games, or 21 hours of football and still counting.
But the fans are staying loyal and are still happy to travel almost 700 miles to follow their team.
Well, they travel to Doncaster, to Middlesbrough and to Coventry. Plymouth is the next port for the fans without a win. But what will the shipping forecast read for Roy Keane after his latest match? Frustrated, yes. Time for a change, no. 13 games without a win, but the majority of Town fans were still on Roy Keane's side, not his back.
I think it's not going to be too far in the future before we're going up the league. No relegation fears, not in my mind anyway.
I think you've got to give him a bit of time. It's the Ipswich way, and so yeah, I think he's the man. But he's going to have to turn it around quite soon, I hope. When you've just driven 6 hours or so, the perfect reward would be to see your team score first. Sadly, 700 or so hearts sank in the away end midway through the first half when Argyle went in front. The 11th time Town have fallen behind in a championship match this season. No wonder he was not amused. But Town did have their own chances. Grant Ledbetter only denied by some fine goalkeeping. Would a change of end bring a change of luck? You bet. A dreadful back pass and Christmas came early for substitute John Stead, something of a forgotten man lately under Roy Keane. From then on it was all Town. Another sub, Alan Quinn, had a golden chance to win it, but couldn't quite pick his spot. Plymouth did nearly steal it themselves at the death, and a draw was probably a fair result. But was it good enough for the Town hardcore?
Poor performance in the first half from Ipswich, but in the second half they came out all guns blazing, because obviously they needed to. But yeah, I thought it was a good, again, another draw for us.
A bit disappointing the way we played. 14 games now, no victory. Where do we go from here?
So only one defeat in the last 5 games, but still no win this season.
We'll try next week.
Got the vote of confidence obviously during the week from the Chief Executive, and you remain committed to the job in the long term as well?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Stupid question.
Football can make or break weekends, but on this occasion the long trip to Plymouth probably only broke the bank, not the hearts of the fans without a win. Jonathan Park, BBC Look East, Plymouth.
Staying with football.